This is Channel 2 News, coverage you can count on.
This is the biggest rib cook-off, not only in the country, on the planet.
The biggest and the best in the West Rib Cook-Off is underway at the Nugget in Sparks. We'll take you there live in our Channel 2 News Big Story at 5:30. The best barbecue event in the country. Just ask us, right?
That's right.
It's a
So
good
true.
one. It's celebrating its 27th year here in Northern Nevada. Good evening. I'm Kristen Remington.
I'm Wendy DeMonte. Thank you for staying with us tonight. It sure is a tasty cook-off with about 250,000 pounds of ribs
Holy cow.
set to be served in the next 6 days. Amanda Ketchledge is live there now, where 24 cookers from around the country are making those tasty ribs this year. Amanda, looks like you're getting ready to cook some up.
That's right, Wendy and Kristen. We're here at Famous Dave's at the Rib Cook-Off, and you're going to want to try some of these ribs. We're making some right now, and that's why some people from all over the world are coming here to try these ribs for a reason.
Taste and diversity in terms of where it all comes from. I have yet to find a bad rib.
Just north of Memphis Barbecue says they will make about 25,000 pounds of ribs in 6 days, and they like to think of themselves as unique with their Memphis dry rub sauce.
It's not that we have anything against sauce, it's how we use the sauce. We use the sauce more as a condiment, you know, maybe more for dipping the ribs in rather than basting the ribs.
Event organizers say there's something for everyone here. Other than the food, there's also crafts, vendors, and of course music.
We have big name bands every single night. It's all free parking, free to get in. We have a free shuttle from Legends, and we just want people to come out and have a great time. We're throwing a big barbecue party. Come on down.
And the Rib Cook-Off runs all the way through this Monday, so you want to be sure to try to stop on by one of these days. Covering Rib Kickoff 2015, Amanda Ketchledge, Channel 2 News.
Oh, you know we will. Amanda, thanks so much. Also tonight at the Rib Cook-Off, the 10th annual rib eating contest, where famous competitive eater Joey Chestnut will defend his winning title. Chestnut will go against #1 ranked Matt Stoney. He actually beat that's funny. Beat Chestnut in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest in July. Well, $5,000 in prize money and the title of Nugget World Rib Eating Champion are up for grabs this year. Last year, Chestnut won here, but he did it by eating 9.27 pounds of ribs during the 12-minute contest.
I go in nice and empty. I'll be drinking lots of liquid. Just go in empty, loose, and yeah, I'll be hungry.
Empty and loose, that's the secret. The contest starts at 6 on the... I didn't say it, he said it. He said that, not me. I guess I didn't need to repeat him though. It's at 6 o'clock on the main stage. Our very own rib taste tester is keeping track of the wind during this special event. Mike, before we talk about the blustery wind, will you be empty and loose?
I'm sorry?
Will you be empty and loose on Saturday when you judge?
I get to judge. Actually, the judging's on Sunday, and the nice thing about judging is it doesn't matter how much you eat, you just have to sample each one. But I'm not going any further with that, I'll tell you. You know, one thing that actually the wind that we have here is it's going to be blowing the smell from those ribs all the way across the state because we got strong southwest winds blowing here. You see these big, long Sierra wave clouds that often come in right ahead of a cold front of some kind. You see how that's really kind of moving along here. I do expect the winds probably to back off a little bit tomorrow, but we are still for tonight under that red flag warning. Now that goes till 9 o'clock. I'm not really expecting we're going to see another one tomorrow because even though the winds will be gusty and maybe even get strong again on Friday, our temperatures are going to be dropping significantly as we go through the week here. And the reason for that is we're dropping this low pressure system down. Now the winds now are because we've got a cold front right up against the warmer air out ahead of it here, but this low's got a lot of cold air in it. By the time Saturday rolls around, we may not even make 70 degrees for our high temperature. Now that's the beginning of the holiday weekend. The end will finish up a lot warmer. We'll lay all that out for you coming up here about 5-10 minutes later in the show.
All right, Mike, we'll see you then. Thank you. Well, a bear and her cub are back in the wild a day after the Nevada Department of Wildlife captured the pair in a Crystal Bay neighborhood. Paul Nelson shows us the bear's release and how the mama bear gave officials more than they bargained for.
This forest is a typical place where you can find black bears, but it's when they get a little farther down the hill where they become problematic, and that's when NDOW has to come in and capture those bears like we saw yesterday morning. Well, today, those two bears are back where they belong. This heart-stopping moment shows just how dangerous black bears can be, especially when there's a cub involved.
We saw some very classic mother bear defensive behavior. Lots of bluff charges, getting very close to people, but stopping short of contact, and that's very typical of a mother bear.
Lackey says this 150-pound bear is also way too comfortable around people and expects to have more run-ins with her down the road.
I know she's going to come back. There's just too many people down here living in this bear country that are too lazy and too complacent to do what's right with their trash.
Stash your trash, don't let them come hang out on your property, and don't do photo ops with them.
The cub and her mother were successfully released back into their home range safely without getting separated.
They both went off up the hill in the same general direction. Mom was just being really defensive.
4 years of drought has had an impact on the bears, but Lackey says this year's rain may have helped natural food growth, keeping conflict bears at bay. But the next 2 months are usually the busiest for bear activity as they increase their food intake to fatten up for winter hibernation.
We expect to get a lot more bears, these urban type bears, crossing the roads and getting hit by cars. We expect to deal a lot more with conflict situations with bears.
NDOW has euthanized 5 bears this year, including 2 last week. But Lackey says that's a rare last resort and it's up to people to keep them safe.
Bears belong. This is Tahoe, bears belong. Lock up your trash to help us avoid these types of situations.
Lackey says it's especially important for these 2 bears to stay up in the woods because he doesn't want the cub to learn bad behavior from its mother that could get him into trouble if he keeps coming down into the urban areas. Covering the story, Paul Nelson, Channel 2 News.
This week, the Economic Development Authority of Western Nevada released a report detailing massive job and population growth expected in our region over the next few years. Chloe Beardsley joins us now here in the studio with a breakdown of the community impact.
Well, Kristen, the EPIC report forecasts job growth between 47 to more than 56,000 and a population increase of 42 to nearly 65,000 people just in the next 5 years. Now, most of the job growth is projected to be in Story County, with the bulk of the population growth expected to be just north of Reno. Now, EDON created this report to start a conversation on building new homes in the area and making sure local school districts are ready.
EDON President and CEO Mike Kazmierski sat down with us today to talk about some of the biggest issues we face in order to keep up with job and population growth.
Workforce, do we have adequate trained workforce to meet the needs of these employers? Housing, clearly a concern. We don't have enough housing. We probably need at least 5,000 new units a year for the next 5 years.
Our market right now is very tight, both on a residential resale perspective and a rental perspective. New building is beginning again, but we're not building anywhere near the pace that we would need to keep up with those projections.
Realtor John Graham says right now homes are being built as fast as they are selling, at about 100 a month.
I think our biggest concern is affordability. Our median price last month creeped up to about $292,000.
And with Washoe County schools already at full capacity, district leaders say finding new options to expand is a top priority.
We're excited about, the economic development happening in Northern Nevada, and we're excited about, more students, but we do have the challenges of just where we're going to put students.
Pete says based on the report, the average growth in schools would be a little more than 1,000 students a year coming to Washoe schools. Plans to handle the growth could include a multi-track school year for students or a ballot measure to construct new schools.
So going forward, we need to find a sustainable solution, and that really means building new schools.
Then there's transportation.
Compared to most cities, we're actually pretty good on transportation. We have got a couple of projects in the books, Southeast Connector.
Kazmierski wants agencies to come together on the community growth plan and work ahead of the issues before they happen.
My concern is, as a region, let's identify the concerns associated with this growth. There is revenue associated with it as well, and let's start to get out in front of it.
And the full EDON EPIC report is open to the public to view. To see it, we put a link on our website. Just go to KTVN.com and click on the blue News Links button. Covering the story, Chloe Beardsley, Channel 2 News.
Well, the winds are still blowing, especially up in the mountains right now, and they're going to continue to be blustery right on into the weekend. That'll blow in some colder temperatures. We'll tell you all about it coming up later in the show.
But first, take a look at this. More and more restaurants are cutting out the middleman, cutting out the people who work behind the counter. How it could impact future jobs after the break.
You're watching Channel 2 News at 5:30 with Wendy DeMonte, Kristen Remington, Sports with Garrett Dearborn, and Mike Alger's Pinpoint 2 forecast.
Well, get this. A new fast food restaurant is serving up healthy dishes, but customers never interact with a cashier.
Yeah, other major chains are also incorporating a virtual experience. Landon Miller has the story.
At the new San Francisco restaurant called Pizza, don't look for servers or cashiers. They have been replaced by touchscreens. You order and pay on a tablet. Your food then miraculously appears behind another touchscreen with your name on it.
I don't know what goes on behind there. It's like a black magic room.
Tim Young knows what goes on back there. He's the co-founder and CEO of Pizza.
It is a proprietary system, but there are absolutely people back there. But really, it's all about using technology to make their jobs more efficient.
The menu is totally vegetarian, with Pizza's goal to make healthy food more accessible using technology. Pizza is not alone in replacing humans with touchscreens. McDonald's and Panera are among others in the fast food business, bringing more automation to their stores. But a larger shift in that direction could affect millions of fast food workers. So will it put them out of a job?
It's not putting anyone out of work. It's making their jobs more efficient and more enjoyable, I like to think.
There could be a shift in the type of jobs associated with the restaurant industry at the disadvantage of the people who typically work in these restaurants.
Pizza already has plans to expand to other cities. Covering Money Watch, Landon Miller, Channel 2 News.
Wind, dust, and cooler temperatures coming our way, and maybe even a raindrop by Saturday. I'll tell you the odds of all of that coming up right after this.
Plus, coming up in sports, the Wolfpack football team kicks off the 2015 season tomorrow night. We will hear from them about UC Davis.
And a local doctor is the first surgeon in the country to implant a potentially life-changing device for macular degeneration patients. Meet him next in my Health Watch.
Have not been the same. I'm still coughing all the time. Is that weird?
I know.
Hello, Jay. Hello.
Hello.
How are you? Hey, Jay, you mind going a little shorter?
I will try. There's a lot happening right now.
Okay, I will pass that info along to our producer. Okay.
Sorry, Jay.
I'm sorry, what were you saying, Wendy?
pills if you want them. See if they make a difference.
Well, and see if by, like, it continues, but then it goes. Tonight, new hope for people terrified they will lose their sight to macular degeneration. Yesterday, Northern Nevada Medical Center became the first center in the nation to host a clinical trial using stem cells to treat the most common cause of adult blindness. Dr. Arshad Kanani implanted a device developed by Neurotech Pharmaceuticals into a local patient's eye. Now, the device contains stem cells programmed to be proteins that are known to stop the progression of wet macular degeneration. So instead of current treatment, which involves shots into the eye every 4 to 8 weeks, this implant continuously releases the protein.
You have a similar protein that is programmed into these stem cells to be secreted. So the hope is that this has the potential for having a long-term treatment effect on the patient. Again, we are early in the game, so we don't know what the data shows eventually, but this is very exciting.
It's groundbreaking science and technology that can really change the life of patients who are losing their vision. And so we're proud to be part of that process.
Now, the goal of the encapsulated cell therapy is to stop the progression of macular degeneration and avoid the need for frequent injections in the eye. Results from this phase 2 clinical trial are expected by early 2017. And that is Health Watch for tonight. For a closer look, go to KTVN.com and click on the Health Watch icon.
Boy, that is incredible. All right, Wendy, thanks so much for that update. Well, let's check in on the roads with our traffic reporter, Jay Rodriguez, in the Alice 96.5 Traffic Center. Busy out there on the roads tonight.
It sure is, Kristen. There's actually a vehicle accident with injuries in Reno on Highway 395 northbound at the Golden Valley exit. Expect delays or avoid that area. Crews are on scene of a vehicle accident on Moana Lane at the Taco Bell parking lot. Expect possible delays. NHP is actually assisting with the fire crews on a small brush fire in Sparks on I-80 eastbound, just west of Rock Boulevard. It's off to the right of the freeway. However, it's causing some major delays right now, especially if you're heading on I-580 north to I-80 east. So expect delays or avoid that area if possible. I'm Jay Rodriguez. Drive safe, Nevada.
Now, here's Chief Meteorologist Mike Alger's Pinpoint 2 forecast, broadcast certified by the American Meteorological Society.
Well, it's pretty easy to see, even if you couldn't feel the wind, but see what was going on up above at the approach of this one cold front. It's a dry cold front, but enough wind going over the mountains to set up that Sierra wave cloud that is so often exhibited here when we get a cold front coming through our area. Cold fronts will bring wind, obviously. They'll also bring colder temperatures, obviously. For us here this week, they may also bring a slight chance of a shower by Saturday. We didn't think so earlier. Now it's maybe a 20% chance. Until then, 81 degrees outside now. Humidity is only 16% with 31-degree dew point. Barometric pressure is not doing a lot over the last few hours here, but we do have west winds now here at the surface gusting as high as 30 miles per hour. High of 87, a low of 56. We are finally at, or not above average, but at average in terms of temperatures. This will be the last time we're at that until probably the middle of next week, as we're going to have a cool several days coming up, especially as we get into the weekend. All right, take a look. First of all, here's the dry cold front coming through. Now, a lot of wind out ahead of it here is creating those little wave clouds on this side of the mountains. You can see it's a dry batch of air coming up across the region. If you look at what happens in the next 24 hours, the cold air does seep in here tomorrow. We're going to see highs drop from the mid-upper 80s, probably into the 70s, and then there's another front back up here here that as we go from Thursday evening into Friday afternoon gets closer, and we're going to see the winds pick up even more on Friday here with blowing dust across the region here. Certainly cold temperatures, high winds and waves on the area lakes as well. So very blustery as we bring all this cold air in, and we'll show you how quickly and how much it'll cool off on the 7-day here in just a second. 70s and 80s now for your high temperatures in the southern half of the state. You notice we won't even get to the 80s in the western side here of the north. Dayton at 79. Take another day before it really cools off further over, but still dropping things to the lower 80s elsewhere to the east. I think we'll top out at 79 tomorrow in Reno, 56 for our low, 77 in Carson City with temperatures in the low 70s at Lake Tahoe. Neighborhood temperatures, again, it's not going to be that cold tonight because we'll have a little bit of breeze throughout the evening. Highs, though, tomorrow now dropping well below average and only getting colder as we go on into Saturday. With that, Lake Tahoe tomorrow, partly cloudy. There's a lake wind advisory likely to come up on Friday. Southwest winds to 10, 15, 20 mile per hour winds, local gusts in the afternoon as high as 30. For Reno, partly cloudy, high tomorrow only 79. 10 mile per hour morning winds, and then they pick up 15 to 25, gusting to 35 in the afternoon. Extended forecast down a couple more degrees. Winds picking up on Friday. We drop to the 60s on Saturday, and with all that, maybe a 20% chance of a shower. But notice it rebounds quickly by Sunday, mid 70s again, then the 80s Monday, and almost 90 again by this time next week.
All right, a little bit of everything.
A little bit of all.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike. Well, still to come tonight, the Wolfpack talks UC Davis and opening up the 2015 season next in sports.
Thanks for watching Channel.
Test, test, test.
Now, here's Sports Director Garrett Dearborn with Channel 2 Sports.
Well, the college football season kicks off all over the country tomorrow night, and with that, Nevada will get things going against UC Davis. That's right, tomorrow night they'll open up Season 3 of the Brian Pullian era. Interestingly enough, the last time these two teams met in 2013 was Pullian's first win as Nevada's head coach. This time around, the Pack has a new starting quarterback in Tyler Stewart, but with 12 returning starters from last season, combined with the fact UC Davis is an FCS team, the fellas are excited to see what they can do. A couple team captains were asked what they'd like to see other than just get a win.
I want to see us run the ball. That's for sure. I feel like that's one important thing on this offense at this point. I want to see us be able to run the ball. I want to see us just flying around on offense.
We got to stop the run. That's been one of our weaker points. So I mean, it's pretty good to start the season off with a team like that, and then stop the run, make them pass, and get after the quarterback.
It's all set to kick off tomorrow night at Mackey Stadium at 7 o'clock. Little matinee baseball. The A's were taking on the Angels this afternoon, and starter Sonny Gray took a ding to that Cy Young application early on. Angels off to a fast start. David Murphy adding to the lead with the RBI single. It's 2-zip Angels. Later in the first, David Freese would get that single. Then how about Josh Fagley coming through with the 2-run homer to center? But the landmark, Albert Pujols, a 2-run homer here. He's now tied with Manny Ramirez for 14th place all-time home runs with 555. By the way, Gray gave up 6 earned runs on 8 hits and struck out just 2 in 5 innings of work. He takes the loss to drop to 12-7 on the season. Let's talk second round of the U.S. Open, where despite a rough one with Kiki Bertens today, Serena Williams is still on track for the true Grand Slam. Overcoming 10 double faults and 24 other unforced errors, Williams emerged with a 7-6, 6-3 win over the 110th ranked player in the world. Williams has won the past 4 major titles, a streak that began at last year's U.S. Open, and she's trying to complete the first calendar Grand Slam since Steffi Graf in 1988. Oh, you're not going to let me show the best part.
Dang it. She was about to get really mad.
Really mad.
Okay,
We'll be right back.
No fun.
Dang it.
Thanks for watching.
Wind, yes. Cooler, yes, absolutely. Rain, maybe. Big maybe on Saturday, but definitely cooling off. Finishes off, though, on a fairly warm note.
Very good. Mike, thanks. We'll see you again at 6:30.